All right. So I didn't know I was gonna speak today until right before the service when Tom was like, "Hey Ben, you want to share today?" So what's nice is it's basically a testimony, or it is a testimony, so it's pretty easy to share. I might jump around a little bit, but I'll try to keep it going with what God's been doing in our life for the past year. And so I'm trying to just gather where I want to start because it's kind of been crazy. But for the last, since we moved back. So if you don't know me, I'm Ben. We moved back here from Raleigh, North Carolina, a year and a half ago. We moved out to Raleigh because we felt like God was calling us out there. We started a ministry in Africa that's up and running, planted a church out there, all while doing it in North Carolina. And then, for whatever reason, God just started sending me back here once a week or once a month for a week at a time to work. And I'm like, oh, of all the cool places you could have sent me, Lord, you sent me back to Minnesota. And so God then just gave me a good job offer that I couldn't refuse, and we uprooted and moved back to Minnesota. And we felt like we were here to stay. We definitely thought we were here to stay, so we started replenishing all the stuff we sold for the move and started furnishing our house. And we were living in my parents. They basically have a duplex, so it's kind of nice just to stay there until we figured out what God wanted. And COVID hit, and we're like, okay, let's just roll with this. And then during this time, like, the Lord really started pressing this vision that me and Molly, my wife, had in our hearts of a ranch. And we're like, okay. And I kept thinking Montana. I wanted to go to Montana. Like, I've never been there, but I always told it. I remember telling Molly 17 years ago when we were first married, like, God's going to move us. And she's like, nope, I'm not believing that. I'm staying in Minnesota, and I want to be with my family. And I'm like, no, I think God's moving us. And all of a sudden, God just started putting it on both our hearts, where we're just sitting there. And there'll be times where she'll be at home listening to a sermon, and I was at church doing sound, and I'm like looking up like ranch stuff, and she's like, Ben, I think it's time to start pursuing this ranch idea. And I'm like, yeah, I'm literally texting or emailing this lady in Alabama about this ranch they own. And so I emailed this lady that does foster care. They do a huge Big Oak Ranch in Alabama. They do this foster care ranch system. So basically they have 400 acres. And they have 18 houses, and each house has about 5 foster kids. And they pay for the house parents to go there, and it's pristine, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. And I told Molly, I'm like, we got to go and visit this place. And so we took a road trip with our kids, 3,700-mile road trip, round trip, in a minivan. And we went to Texas, Louisiana, Florida, all the fun places. And we got to the ranch, and we fell in love with their idea and their concept. But we didn't know if foster care was for us. We're still seeing if the Lord's opening that door or not. So as I give our testimony, disclaimer is we're stepping out in faith, and our faith is literally just we're being called to Texas, but we don't know exactly what we're doing when we get there. We have ideas and we have plans and steps that have opened up for us, but we just don't know how we get to this ranch idea. So it's kind of cool how you step out and you're like, okay, Lord, you're calling us to do this, but how are you going to do it? We don't know. And I told Tom I wouldn't get up here and be like, when people ask, what are you guys going to do? I don't know, just we're going, but that's what faith is. And that's the scary part for us is we're like, we're going to go, but we're not going to figure out how we're going to do it until God reveals it, And so we went to this ranch, fell in love with their idea, the concept, and as we were driving to Nashville on our way home, the lady emailed or texted me, and she goes, have you guys thought of going to El Paso, Texas? And it was just a quick moment where me and Molly looked at each other and we're like, that's where we're going. We knew we were going. I'm like, yeah, we'll go. And she's like, okay, let's start praying about it. And we got connections there. So she started using her contacts, and they got us hooked up with a pastor, Buck, in El Paso, originally from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And they planted a church there, the Healing Place Church. And their message is to gather, grow, and go. So that's what they want to do. And they want to heal people coming in for this hurting world and then send them out and equip them that way. So we started talking to Pastor Buck, and he invited us down there. And so me and my 10-year-old now, Madeline, and then these Alaskan guy came with us. So as we were praying about this whole thing, and as God was stepping us out, we created a nonprofit, Desert Streams Ranch, which is based off of Isaiah 43:19. I look at my wife, make sure I got the right verse. She's giving me the nod. And what that says, as I wait, is, "Behold, I will do something new. Now it will spring forth. Will you not be aware of it? I will even make a roadway in the wilderness, rivers in the desert." And that really spoke to us that's what we want to do. We want to bring hope to people that are suffering, And so while we created our nonprofit, we've stayed in contact with these missionaries from Alaska. And they use our Disney Plus account. We kind of bless them that way. And so we've just been in contact with them. We've never met them. We just kind of occasionally have phone calls with them or text messages, just like, "Hey, how are you guys doing? We're praying for you." And they'll do the same thing. And when we told them that we started this nonprofit and we got our website up and running, she told me and Molly, she's like, "Oh, my husband just got butterflies in his stomach." And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." And after we got done talking with them, I told Molly, I go, "They're going to come with us." And she's like, "No." And I'm like, "No, they're both coming with us." And she's like, "They're in Alaska working for a church, and they're missionaries there. There's no way they're coming down." I was like, "Well, that's, I don't know. I feel like it is." And I already asked Paul to come, but he failed to. So Rachel, you had your chance, but he denied that opportunity. But I know I'll ask again in February, Paul, and about that time. And yeah, you for sure will be like, "Hey, we're coming." The cold weather, the snow. And 2 weeks later, they both said that they're in, and they're moving their whole family. Their 15-year-old daughter actually gave them a message, or told them that they're moving to Texas like a year and a half ago or a year ago. They're like, "Mom, I feel like we're going to move to Texas." And she's like, "Nope, I rebuke that. We're staying in Alaska. It's too hot down there." And she goes, "No, we're coming. We're coming to Texas." And so they jumped in with us. So James, the husband, he flew down with me and Madeline, and never met him. And so as we're picking him up in Phoenix, Madeline's like, "Dad, how are we going to know what he looks like?" I'm like, "Oh, I think we'll figure it out." He's the only one in 90-degree weather wearing sweatshirts and jeans. So we were set. So we started on our journey to El Paso. We went to Tucson and tried the desert hike. It went from fun to survival in about 5 minutes. Poor little Madeline was crouching behind a rock because the only shade she had was like this, and she was overheating. And so we had to kind of put her in the shade, and I had to run ahead and find out how far we were for our vehicle because her face was red. And I mean, we're not set for 113-degree weather. But we made it out. We got to Walmart. We threw in one of those ice chests, everyone's laughing at us, but we're like, "Yeah, we're from Minnesota and Alaska." And they're like, "Oh, you guys are crazy." And we're like, "Yep." So we made our way to El Paso to meet the pastor and his wife, Esther. And immediately, it was just we knew that's where we belong. We met with them at their youth. They had a big send-off for their mission team. They do work in the Yucatan jungle down in Mexico. They got a lot of stuff on the other side of Mexico, and they do stuff in their own community. Through COVID, their church went from 260 people down to 80. And it was cool to hear that, oh man, because they're faithful. They're like, "We're not going, we're still got to figure it out, we're going to step." And as we're having breakfast with them, his wife shares that they've been praying for laborers to come and help. And me and James knew, we're like, that's why we're coming. We don't know what God's doing, but you got us. And they shared with us that the two things they need are somebody to help the day-to-day operations of the church and someone to help with their children's ministry. Well, I have a business degree, and that's what I do for work, is help maintain buildings and day-to-day operations. And James, he's the head of the children's ministry up in Summit, Alaska. So we're like, "Okay, that's confirmation, Lord. You're calling us to be here." And so we had just a fun time. And of all the places that God could have connected us, He connected us with the one church that is so much like Grace. They believe in the Holy Spirit. They speak in tongues. They believe in prophesying, and they just want to show love. And it's so cool how God works that way, where we didn't have to church shop. We didn't have to go. God just hooked us up right away with the church and a family down there that's ready for us and welcoming to us. And so we left that just very okay, how do we get here? September 1st is our goal. It got pushed back to September 13th as the official day we're loading up and heading out to Texas. And through that, like we were looking at renting houses. The Alaskans are like, all we got money for is a trailer to live in a camper. And so we're like, oh my gosh, okay. So I reached out to a park down there, RV park, and I'm like, hey, what's your rates? What do you guys do? And when I hit submit, it was like, thank you for your reservation. I was like, no, I just want an inquiry. And about 8 hours later, I get a call from El Paso. That's what my phone said. It just said El Paso and the number. I'm like, well, I got to answer this, and it's the owner of the RV park. And he's just like, man, he's like, I never do this. I never call. I never do online reservations. It's all handled through my manager. I just happen to click on yours. I see that you're looking for a spot. Your missionary's coming down here. He goes, we're going to work something out. So he gave me the confirmation a couple weeks ago that they're waiving 3 months of living expenses down there for their park, and then they're going to reevaluate. They're like, if you're still money is tight, then we'll reevaluate, but we're here to help you out for the next 6+ months, because that's our goal is 6+ months. So then me and Molly are like, well, we always felt like with the Alaskans coming with us, we want to do it with them. We don't want to have a house or have them have a trailer. So we're like, all right, well, I guess we need a trailer now. So we wound up buying a 30-foot trailer, got a heck of a deal on it through the Lord, like just a really good deal. And Molly's been renovating it. And so it's been cool just to know that side, like God's taking care of that. And has a pool for the kids. So they're really excited because it's hot down there. And it's a really good area on the east side of El Paso. So that's really cool. So then now we had our camper, the Alaskans had theirs. Well, then their camper fell through. And then they found out about 2 weeks ago that someone donated them a whole RV in Montana. So we're like, okay, Lord, you're just confirming this. And they needed that because they weren't doubting, but there's that moment where you're just like, oh my gosh, like what are we going to do, Lord? Like, are we sure we should be leaving Alaska, And we all think that at times. I know, like, we all get those moments in our family where it's like, it's easier just to stay. It's easier to be comfort. It's easier just to, like, I got a good paying job. I know what to expect in Minnesota. But so much more of that is just stepping out in that faith. And it's like, what are we teaching our kids if we're remaining secure, And it's no knock against anybody here. That's just where my journey is I made a promise to God that if he healed me from something when I was working as a medic, I would chase him to the ends of the earth. And I need to do that. I need to honor that promise because he healed me. He brought me so much from deep, dark pain to freedom in that. And so that's what we've been doing is just chasing after God. And we want to be that, that witness to our kids that, what, it's scary. It's going to give us anxiety at times. It's stressful. But standing up here now, and I don't know, last week, I think there's just been a really cool piece where we're ready. Like we're ready to go, and we just want to start serving and see what God has. When we get down there, we don't know what we're going to do. I'm sorry, Tom, I lied. I did it. But one of the cool things is the church is small. It's 80 people, but they want to replant that church. They want to grow it, and that's something that we have a heart for too. And what's cool is they had a principal of a high school and a vice principal come up to the pastor Buck in El Paso and said, we want your church in our schools. We want you to not just be on campus on Sunday, but we want you to have a presence inside our school. And I knew right away, I was like, oh, that's what we're here for, is to help with that. And I know it's cool for me because I know that's where Pastor Tom's heart is in the schools, and to be sent out from this church that I love and that has grown me and just been there for our family so much. It's good to know that we're going to help a school out, a high school, because that's where Tom's heart is in the school districts. And so I don't take that lightly at all. Like that to me is just such a cool mission for our family, is to go there and minister to the kids down there. And so we're pumped to go. I'm forgetting a ton of stuff, but it is what it is. But yeah, so we're gonna go, and we know the ranch is coming. We're operating on both sides of the border, so we will be going to Mexico. We got to get passports. So stuff to pray about and stuff that we need is we do need money for passports for all. There's 10 kids between the two families, so we're gonna be heavily outnumbered. We got vehicles, but right now we're split between 3 to 4 vehicles because of our size. So we're praying for like a Suburban to come once we get down there, or like a 15-passenger van to come, so we can take trips together. Because our goal is to do stuff as a family with them, but also have our separate families. But we want to experience it, and we're going to be doing stuff with them. So it's a pretty cool experience for us to do that, and have somebody come with us and sharing this. Because when we went out to North Carolina, we were by ourselves, and we were like freaking out. I mean, it was like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? But this is so much different, having people come with us in the Lord that believe the same stuff, and being sent out from the church. It's great to have that support. So we got it, and God's got us. And it was great listening to worship today and just hearing the comfort. I looked at my nephew Isaac, and he's sleeping right now, but he was just being held by Mike, and just watching him just doze off. I was like, that's what worship felt like to me today, is just be held by God, be comforted by God, because this world can just be so devastating at times and so uncertain. But it's like, man, it's so nice to come to church, listen to the worship, and just feel that comfort, that hug of the God, just really just comfort you. So that's all I got. I mean, it's just a short testimony. We went down, and we leave in 3 weeks. So just be praying for us. We're really excited for God to send us out, and you guys send us out, because this is our family here. So if you guys all want to stand, we'll close in prayer. I'll call my wife up here. I know, short service today. Oh, Rachel's like, thank you, amen, let's get out of here, places to go. Dear Lord, I thank you so much for this church, for Grace, Lord, for Tom, for his heart, Lord, this really just the desire to just really send us out, and want us and have us go, Lord. It's tough to see people go, but it's also exciting, Lord, that we get to be sent out by a church and our family. I pray for everyone here, especially Pastor Tom, Lord, that they just get healing, that everyone can just have a sense of comfort today from you, Lord, that we can just walk in you with freedom, Lord, that any bondages, anything can just be broken and has been broken. The battle's been won, Lord, that we can just continue to share our gospel and share your love, Lord. I pray for everyone's day and their week, Lord, and just bless them. In your name, amen.
I have something on my heart. And before I say that, I just want to tell you, yesterday I go to classes, and yesterday I was talking to a woman, and I said, the Lord wants us to go and grow and go. And I go, I don't know why I keep saying that, grow and go. What does that mean? And then you just shared that. I wasn't here for the service last Sunday, and Grace Gospel is really my first church home, and it means so much to me. And I know last Sunday people prayed for Grace Gospel, and has come to my attention that something took out at least 4 of our young men, took them away from Grace Gospel. I'm not okay with that. And I don't know if we prayed about that last Sunday or not. But they're the heart of our church. They are our inheritance. And what led them astray, it's not okay for me to let them leave our church through deception or whatever. And I know with my own son, Aaron, I argue with him a lot, and the Lord has really talked to me about being a know-it-all. And I just want to say, I sometimes think I'm smarter than everyone, and that I know everything, and I'll argue you into the dirt. And that's not Christ. Christ, and I just want to repent of that. And if I've offended with my arguments, I really want to repent. And for the men that have left us, I just want to pray that they come back. Because grace gospel, the Lord showed me in this class yesterday how much he hates divorce. And the teacher said, I don't know why he hates divorce so much. And the Lord said, because Adam was divorced from God in the Eden. It was the biggest divorce. And then this morning I woke up and the Lord kind of showed me all through the Bible, he pursued us. There isn't a time where we pursued him. But God has been pursuing his spouse. The Ancient of Days has been pursuing us. And in every Bible story, God shows up. He shows up with Gideon. He shows up in the burning bush with Moses. He shows up, he pursues us. So, can we pray for the restoration of our inheritance? That these men will come back to the truth, and that where we've offended, Lord, we say we're sorry. And we pray for your mercy and grace over their lives. You're a good Father, and you won't allow our inheritance to be taken from us. You're a good, good, good Father, and we rest in you and we trust you. And we speak to those men now in the name of Jesus. We speak life to them. We speak the light of the gospel to them. We express the love of Jesus to them. And in the name of Jesus, we bind whatever blinding spirit has led them astray. And we say, come on home. This is your home. Come back to us in the name of Jesus. Anybody else want to pray? And we really want to bless you as you go out and do your ministry, and that you bring the hearts of the children back to their dad. Amen. You can top that. You go.
Yeah, I brought some sheets in this morning, and I got them from the Word of Life Church. I was there on Wednesday, and some of the things that are going on, and I brought them in and I put them on the counter. And could you each one take one of these sheets, or each family? It's some of the stuff that's going around that the government is really involved in, and I don't know, most of us have probably heard about it, but like this critical race theory, they're trying to teach that in the schools. In fact, they already are in many schools in different states. And I don't know where it is here in Minnesota, but it's really a bad teaching. It's basically a lie. And the only thing that it's going to produce is just more racial tensions between, the different races and that, because of what it's saying. So I brought that in, and I brought another one is that the government is trying to really put this sex education into school, and they're trying to teach it at a much too young of age. 6, 7 years old, and some of it is really is abnormal sexual behavior, and we've got to get more involved in the schools here, especially young people. You're the ones that got your children in school, and this is the ones that they're targeting. And we really need to get serious about that. And there's a couple speakers at that Word of Life. One is going to be on September 15th and one on September 23rd. And these are really good meetings that they're having up there. I don't know if they're having them every Wednesday, but I think they have. Our Tuesday? Oh, okay. But these have the dates on them, so. But please take one and take a look at it because it's pretty serious. Thank you.
I just want to piggyback off that a little bit. Some of you were at a rally yesterday speaking out against the mandate that healthcare workers must get vaccination, otherwise they will lose their jobs. And as we were worshiping today, I was thinking about that and how we see that just as a practical thing of life. But it really is. There's really a deep pain being brought upon us. This is the livelihood of many, many people within our church and within our community. And their lives are being shaken. And they're being taken to a place of decision. Do I stand up for what I believe? Or do I lose my livelihood? In the midst of that is trusting God, of course. And absolutely we know we trust God for his provision. At the same time, God asks us to stand up and do our part. And so I just want to encourage each of you to be praying for the healthcare workers at this time. This mandate will go further. It'll go into government. It'll go into other businesses and so forth. It's the enemy is just really pushing this through. So whether you can get involved physically or not, at least get involved spiritually. Spend time in prayer. Pray for these people. We care about them. We care about their lives. They are our brothers and sisters. So just please stay involved, yes. Actually, well, if you want, I'm part of the community action team. Mary Lee Blum is. You can get a hold of us and give us your any information, email address or whatever, and every time there's something going on, we can let you know. There is going to be one in Princeton at Fairview on Tuesday afternoon. Then they're coming back on Wednesday to Alina again here in Cambridge. Pass that time on to you. There were over 250 people on Saturday, and it was an awesome event. Yes. Yes, exactly, yeah. And we got to be really careful because any of the rallies that we have, there are a number of people who still want to see them as a rallying against the vaccination. And we're not going there at all. That's a person's choice. People have different levels of information and they make different choices, and that's their choice. What we really need to stand up against is the mandate itself with the consequences that are part of that. And that is not okay. That is not God's heart at all. And we need, as believers, we need to take up the banner on this thing. This is the time, in the darkness that's in our world, this is a time for us to be salt and light. And that's what this means in these particular situations. There's a lot of other things going on at the county commissioners, the school board, all of these things like Steve was saying. And we are being called into this, whether we like it or not. So I just want to encourage you to see this not as just this practical thing in life that's going on and, I'm too busy to get involved. But take it to the Lord and let him show you what areas that he wants you to get involved in. Guess we're dismissed. Oh, Bob? Okay, come on, Bob.
Just a quick one. If you want to know what's going on, try to get to Tuesday night meetings at Word of Life Church. We've been meeting there, a couple of months now, every Tuesday. So, or else you can call Gary or call me and we'll let you know. Otherwise, it's hard to really know about the rallies. But Tuesday, if you can, come Tuesday night.
and find out everything that's going on.